Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, I am part of Vicky myself, so it's quite embarrassing for me to address you individually. You are my family. So with that, I start. The reason you became part of the family goes back to Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. That's where it all started, 91 years back. And before I go into what is the best policy or listen to you talk about policies, let me again remember one tenet with which this whole thing began. There is enough for everyone's need, but not for any man's greed. That is Mr. M.K. Gandhi, not my quote, but I have started owning it as if it were mine, and I keep repeating it to great applause every time. And now it's become mine. Most of the wisdom that is passed on should become ours, and that's what we are endeavoring towards. Let me talk about Tamil Nadu. Mr. M.K. Gandhi is an international man. He spoke about the world, he spoke about India, but let me talk about Tamil Nadu. Not because this meeting is held here, but it needs attention. This particular state, which the nation is proud of, it's got nothing to do with parochial borders or chauvinism. The nation is proud of it, and we have proof of it. We are 2 in GDP. Yeah, all that is fine. The first quarter since independence was fantastic. Everybody was enthusiastic. Everybody wanted growth, including the political heads. The number of schools opened during the first quarter century, leaving aside the dams built and other things. It was fantastic growth. The second quarter was not bad either. But the last quarter has been bad. Let's say last 15 years, we've been going downhill, and instead of pointing fingers at others, let's all in this room, whoever are doing business in Tamil Nadu, take it up upon ourselves to understand that this could have been caused by our complacency. So much so that you have a fiscal deficit of 45,000 crore and then an 18,000 crore, which will grow to 25,000 crores in future. We have to impede this cost on every Tamilian that's happening now. So it's time to take action. We are talking about now first aid rather than a larger service to people. We have to quickly attend to this problem. I'm here to listen to you as a party member, as a party founder. I'm here to listen to you. Instead of telling you my policies, we are working with a group in Harvard who are working on our policies, who are telling us as we keep relaying the ground level problems to them. We are trying to keep our ears as close to the ground as possible. And we are passing on our what we consider as ailments that is affecting the industries and various other things, especially the industries. We are getting good advice, but when we make policies without your participation in it, it'll just be a monologue. This has to be a dialogue between the industries and the whoever's in the driving seat. Now, we are doing our best. We've adopted a few villages. We've gone and fought for causes. We've been champions of the Gram Sabha, which was forgotten. We didn't invent it, but it almost had to be reintroduced to the villages, and we are the proud champions of that cause, and we would like to be your champions too. You tell us. You can even come, not because we are in the driving seat and we can make things happen by magic, but even without being there in the driving seat, we will be able to help you raise your concerns, raise our voice for your sake. And let's have this dialogue. This is not going to be a podium where I address you, say bye and leave. This has to be a continued conversation if we truly believe that Tamil Nadu has potentials and must move towards that. And that's what we are aiming to prove to you, that we will make that difference. We will raise that voice for your sake to the existing government. What's the point in all this? So tomorrow, if you put us in the driving seat, you'll know that you have a worthy person who did it in spite of not being there in power. That's the idea, that's the exercise. I could go on with the numbers and various statistics, but you know all of it. So I'm not going to bore you or even pretend that I know a little more than you. I don't. So I'm going to seek your advice, and we can quickly go into a question and answer, which is where the dialogue will begin for now. But it'll continue further for quite some time, because this malady that's facing us is not going to go away pretty soon. It'll take time. And we all have to endeavor towards it, and we'll talk. We'll begin the conversation now and see how far it takes us. Thank you.
I think you've highlighted the issues and the reasons. I think the first question that comes to everybody's mind is, if you look at the history, Tamil Nadu has always been a very successful state for industry, for business. It has been cited as an example over the years how to get industry right. As you said, in the last few years, things have gone downhill. What we would be keen to know from your point of view is why it has gone downhill, and what are the corrections that you think will bring it back not only to the past glory, but even beyond that?
Thank you. I think it's time to stop whining now, because things are done. It's 15 years of a fast downhill road that we have taken. But now I think the onus is on us to really wake up and raise the voice. And criticizing the government is one form of it. You can tell them, raise your voice, but we'll have to think even further ahead than that. And one of the things that I truly believe that industrialists can do is, I truly believe that the survival of Tamil Nadu is mainly going to be from small entrepreneurs. The big ones are there, we're proud of them, that's fine. But we must also build small entrepreneurs, because $1,000, $1 million companies still makes a $6 billion company, according to me. And I know, yeah, thank you. You can, feel free. But at the same time, we must have our big giants too. But we must take this forward, and we will help that happen. That will increase employment. That's what we have to do. And the government, of course, will have to help. And we must insist that they do. what happened in the 15 years, that post-mortem is not the most important exercise now, because that's done. And now we have to think ahead. Post-mortem, everybody knows. The politicians are busy taking care of themselves and not the state. Now the time has come when we all have to pitch in, including the politicians. If they don't wisen up now, they never will. And it'll change. And for the integrity of the nation, the unity of the nation, we must all get together, one vertical at a time. And this is one vertical I'm proud to address. Thank you.
Sir, I think you rightly said that there is no point of doing the post-mortem of what happened in past, and actually we have to move for future and look, because only those people who look at future are more successful. So I fully endorse your view. My question is that though the past we cannot do post-mortem, it's very important that we learn from the past mistakes so that we don't repeat those mistakes. So what are the three important things which you feel should not be done in Tamil Nadu or in India to make sure that our future is bright?
Check. There's a litany of woes that we could sell, and I could create a chorus in this room to follow me. Well, that's not what we are saying. There's so many that we could quickly list. For example, if Ficki's study shows, I think 2016, that 80% of the educated lot are not employable. That's a dire state to be in. And that's why I'm pushing towards small business enterprises, because at least they will divert their attention towards better self-improvement, and more employment opportunities would come out of it. Right now we have engineers ready to become village administration officers, PhDs who sign up to become village administration officers. That should change. And I think, having been part of skill set development council in Vicky, I feel that that's a new satyagraha that the nation should take up. Developing the skill of the nation in every vertical. I used to be the Media and Entertainment Skill Development Council chairman for a while, and we took up that responsibility with pride, and more people should come. If we develop those many skills, people will come towards us, and nations will come towards us, because we're going to have show the number by sheer mass, and if they are skilled, it's going to be an extraordinary country. It's not an easy slope to climb, but we can, we must. And we already have good things going for us, like we are bilingual in nature, which is fantastic. So that way we are a step ahead of China, who is trying to catch up by teaching the population English. So we have the many things. What shouldn't be done, we all know. The government should be running proper educational institutions, at least monitoring whether they are being done. Instead, spends most of its energy in task mark. That could be done by any entrepreneur. But whereas big officers are set about to take care of a business which anybody could take care of. But there are certain responsibilities that the government will have to come forward and take it and see that discipline is maintained, be it in the industry or education. They can be strict but also helpful, and that's what they should do. Now, it's neither this nor that. There's total disregard. They've eschewed us and continued with their lives. more to say, but we'll not cry over spilt milk.
I think we have a few questions from the audience, so we'll just throw open to people and interact more on that. I think we had Ashank wanted to ask a question. He had indicated he wanted.
I'm Ashank Desai, IT industry, Mass Tech. I'm far away from the state, I'm in Mumbai, but we are always confused with this issue of Kaveri water dispute, which has been brewing for how many years, I don't know. There is a tribunal which gave some 192 cm, and now the Supreme Court has reduced it. I think both the parties are unhappy all the time. And then there is some board to be formed, which I think Karnataka doesn't agree, etc. What are your views, and what do you think should be done? Because this needs to be resolved someday, I hope.
Yes, it can be done, because there are precedents. The Honorable PM, while he was in Gujarat, was able to settle a dispute, very similar dispute between four states. Four states, I think. 4 states. So, 4 or 3? 4 states. So, it is not such an insurmountable problem. If the politics will just stand aside and logic will come into place, logistics will come into place, then we can quickly solve the problem. But it seems like people are driving it. They are not. It can be solved, but it has to be left to the actual users. There was something called the Kaveri family. The farmers had a communion. They spoke to each other, and that begat better results than all this squabbling in the court. Because ultimately, Kaveri was there when we were monkeys, and it will still be there. We only hope that we don't pollute it, that you can't call it Kaveri anymore. That's happening. What we can do, as far as whatever the numbers, we'll have to fight for our rights. We will. We can't even bring about the logic of riparian rights, because nobody seems to be hearing. But there is something that has to be done which they are not doing. That's because politics is meddling with it. Too many cooks is spoiling the river. But what we can do, the best we can do in a situation like this, is to conserve water. The rainfall in Tamil Nadu is enviable, very enviable compared to other states. We have abundant rain, and we have been draining it all away with disregard. Chennai itself is a great example of how 2 rivers have been turned to sewers. In my time, I have seen that it may not have been potable, but at least it was navigatable. I could dip my hand in it and come back without jaundice. But that's not the case now. It's a simple solution. An engineer would be able to give a simple solution to solve that problem. It's not been solved. In the last 40 years, promises have been made. We have 2 rivers. The very reason why the British chose this as a vantage point was because of these 2 rivers and the waterways. We've ruined it all. That's what we have to take care of. We have to take care of our water bodies and conserve and garner all the rainfall that we are getting. That's the best that we can think of at this moment. But the debate for riparian rights and water to come into Tamil Nadu will continue. It's now become boring for the onlookers, because we know why it's going on. It's pure politics, and it should move away from it and come towards the people. Thank you, sir.
Sir, will you be able to continue your political journey even if it is not able to capture the power, irrespective of success or failures in capturing the power? Are you sure about continuing your political journey?
Yes. I'll tell you why I came at all in the first place. To challenge the status quo, to do away with the stagnancy, and to tell people that yes, integrity and honesty has a place in that assembly. And that is why I'm here. That is my life's work. I've done my bit as an actor. This is the rest of my life. And that's what I'd like to tell you, sir.
So this is Prabhu Gandhi Jain from Construction Industries. 2 points, sir. A lot of central government fund is allotted to Tamil Nadu. For example, central government funding, for example, smart city, digital India, unutilized and is returning back to the central government. So FICCI kind of setup can act to support the state government to how to utilize that kind of smart city funding. For the smart city funding, Tamil Nadu, like every festival, Pongal, Diwali, we are facing all kind of disaster management, Varda, Oki, Puyal. So this kind of thing, FICCI can support in this area for developing the smart city like that. Funding utilizing.
Yes.
It will support in the job creation area, sir. Lot of job generation will be generated to the youngsters.
I do understand, sir, but I can't, I shouldn't be speaking for FICCI, but I know the mindset and the philosophy of FICCI. They will.
So your innovation, that mobile app is an excellent, sir. It's a whistleblower system, is very good. We can track, now we are all act as a police, so we can able to do so.
Thank you.
And final question, sir.
But you must understand, FICCI and the central fund is not the only problem that, they are not the only solvers of the problem.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
When you say the word fund
Yes.
in politics, the first reaction is how to reach it.
Yes.
Not for the people. For people who think that they can take it away for themselves. That has to stop. It seems very simple. It's like saying being honest. Yeah, it's a simple word, but it's a great exercise. We have to be all part of it. It's a very simple word. Honesty may not be the best policy, but it's a great luxury. Very few people can afford it. I want you all to be able to afford it. I have afforded it with great pain, but I'm enjoying the fruits of it. Thank you, sir.
Vanakkam, sir. நான் ராம் பிரகாஷ். ஆக்சுவலாக இவ்வளோ ஒரு நல்ல இன்டலெக்சுவல் எங்களுடைய மையத்துக்கு வந்திருக்கிறது ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சி, கிடைச்சதுக்கு ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சி. என்னுடைய கேள்வி என்னென்னா சார், இப்போ 25 ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னாடி குளோபலைசேஷன் வேண்டாம் அப்படின்னு சொன்ன நாடுகள் எல்லாமே இன்றைக்கு குளோபலைசேஷனுக்குள்ளே வேணும்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. அதாவது சைனா, மற்ற நாடுகள்லாம். அதே சமயம் குளோபலைசேஷனை சப்போர்ட் பண்ண கவர்மெண்ட் அரசுகள்லாம், அமெரிக்கா, பிரிட்டன் போன்ற நாடுகள் எல்லாமே இன்னைக்கு ஒரு ப்ரொடக்ஷனிசத்துக்குள்ளே போகிறாங்க. இப்போ நம்ம நாடு, அதாவது நம்ம இந்தியா அல்லது நம்ம தமிழ்நாடு, ஏன்னா நம்மளுடைய ஜிடிபி வந்து இன்னைக்கு செகண்ட் பொசிஷனில் இருக்கிறதுனால, தமிழ்நாட்டோட ஜிடிபி செகண்டில் இருக்கிறதுனால, இது உலக அளவுலையும் பெரிய தாக்கத்தை ஏற்படுத்துறதுனால நம்ம ப்ரொடக்ஷனிசத்துக்குள்ளே போகணுமா அல்லது குளோபலைஸ்டு எக்கனாமிக்குள்ளே போகணுமா?
இல்லை, ப்ரொடெக்ஷனிசம்ங்கிறது வந்து ஒரு knee-jerk ரியாக்ஷன் சார். அதுக்குள்ளே நம்ம போக வேணாம். அண்ட் அனதர் திங், நம்ம யூரோப்பை பார்த்து தான் எல்லாம் கற்றுக்கணுங்கிறது இல்லைங்க. Sorry. Now, for a moment, I thought, let's skip the subject because it's getting just interesting. No, the protectionism வந்து ஒரு knee-jerk reaction. அது வந்து Europe, you want me to talk in English? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Right. Now, we need not follow everything from Europe. We have our own philosophies. We have done it before, we can do it again. And we will find the correct mix of what is good for the country and what is ethical to do in a highly populated country like us. And we will do that. And the whole world will realize that protectionism may not be protective enough for those who seek it. அதாவது இந்த ப்ரொடெக்ஷனிசம்ங்கிறது அதை நாடுபவர்களுக்கு கூட கிடைக்காது, அந்த நாடுகளுக்கு கூட கிடைக்காமல் போய்விடும். எதிர்காலம் உலகத்தை ஒரு ஒரு இடமாக பார்க்க போகிறது. ஒவ்வொரு தனித்தனி மைசூர் பாவு சமைக்கும் போது ஒரு ட்ரேல ஊத்திடுவாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் நறுக்கும். அதான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க இப்ப. அது கடைசியில மறுபடியும் கொஞ்ச நாள் விட்டீங்கன்னா எல்லாம் இறுகிடும். இப்ப அதான் நடக்க போகுது.
Mr. Kamalasan, on behalf of FICCI's Tamil Nadu State Council, I am very happy that you decided to come and address us today. We are very glad to have you with us. I specifically had to request you to address both in Tamil and English because we have several of our National Executive Committee members here who are not fluent in Tamil. So for their reference as well, I made that request. Thank you. India as a country is going through a good period of growth. As our President had also mentioned earlier today, our first 60 years was slower, but the last perhaps 15 to 20 years has been faster. And in the time to come, maybe over the next 10 years, we're going to be going through an even more faster growth. So towards these three questions that has come about in my discussion with the attendees today. One is, what should governments in India do in order to be able to capture this growth? So for instance, if you look at the states, if our state in particular does not capture it, then that opportunity goes off to another state. So what should state governments do in order to be able to capture that growth? That's number one. Number two is, it's very good that you have this attention to SMEs. It's a very important focus area, but we cannot forget the large companies as well. The large companies also have a sizable presence here, plus there are several companies across India who are interested to come in and set up here because of our good labor pool. How do we also show the way for these large companies while at the same time encouraging our SMEs? Both have to go hand in hand. And finally, labor laws. There are several states within our country, whether it's Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan, have gone about reforming their labor policies, labor laws. And perhaps we have been still in discussions within Tamil Nadu. What are your views on labor law reforming in the course of time, and whether it's going to be progressive or are we going to continue the status quo or if it's going to be regressive?
Okay, that's a long-winded question. I think, as you said, if there is a national growth, Tamil Nadu will definitely want to be part of that too, which right now we are not sure we are. We'd like to be part of it. And I've told you, we are talking at, the present situation is what in the naval language is called doldrums. So there's no wind to catch our sail, but it soon will happen, and that's what we are all working towards. And then we could discuss policies and the labor laws, but whatever laws that we bring about, once again, like when the Constitution was being done, they asked, the same old man keeps coming back into my conversation, but forgive me, I'm a fan. So they asked Gandhiji what, since he was also a barrister, whether he had any comments on the Constitution. He says the poorest man should benefit. If that happens in your Constitution, it's good. That's how he surmised it with a simple line, because the rest of the nuts and bolts, they were fantastic lawyers working on it. But this is something, the basic tenets of which we should take care. And when we reform the labor laws, this should be kept in mind again. And anything, we must have big industries. When I say that, when I was trying to champion the small industries, it doesn't mean that we'll have to eschew the big ones. They must come. They must also be there, and these people should also continue their endeavor. And but all of them should work within their ethical limits and go by the law of the land and not exceed it in avarice to do better business. That goes for anywhere in the world, and we should follow that. And that's what will be our policy, to facilitate as much as possible to all businesses to grow and flourish, but it will all have to be done with concern for people, laws, and yes, if we have to readdress the labor laws, we will.
We have only one question. I think Mr. Mulidharan wanted. Can you get in the mic, please?
Sir, I think congratulations for taking up the case for Tamil Nadu, and you are starting a regional party. The bigger question is, we are part of a national federation, and what is good for the state like Tamil Nadu and for development? A strong single. What is good for Tamil Nadu? A strong national party like BJP and Congress in the center, or a coalition of all regional parties forming a central government? Which will be better, in your opinion, for the development of the state?
I think we must have the federal outlook. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I have some supporters here for that. We must, and the diversity of the nation demands that. And we must have that, and that will be the best policy to pursue. Whatever happens in the center, whether it's coalition or it's a large government, we should never let go of the regional rights. And we should have that, not wait for concurrence on every little step that we are taking forward. That's our view. That's Makkal Needhi Mayyam's view on it.
We too travelled some years back in a warship. I hope you remember that. My question, I will come to that. If you become a power source, I'm not saying a chief minister, I hope you understand. If you become a power source, what you will do first for education institutes, for industry and for public?
As we have been discussing, education will have to create graduates who are employable, which means the quality will have to come up. Industry, I'm going to talk to all you people and come out with a policy. That's as simple as that. And whatever happens, as you say, whether it's power or not, we will continue to talk for the betterment of Tamil Nadu. That will continue. So, thank you very much.